A powerful shift unfolded last night, and it felt like something snapped perfectly into place. While digging through the latest XRP movements, I uncovered a chain of events so large, so coordinated, and so precisely timed that it felt like getting an early preview of the next chapter of crypto before anyone else even knows it exists. The deeper I looked, the clearer it became. This moment mirrors the early Bitcoin ETF days, except this time the setup is cleaner, faster, and far more strategic. Before we continue, make sure you are subscribed, and if you want to support the channel, hit the join button under any video and give a thumbs up, because the more engagement this video gets, the more the algorithm pushes it. Now everything starts right here, because this is where the pattern first appeared. I kept noticing the same behavior across the board: major funds suddenly going silent, specific wallets quietly loading up, liquidity pockets tightening at the exact same time, and then out of nowhere, Franklin Templeton dropped the missing puzzle piece that tied it all together. Roger Bond, their head of digital assets, didn't simply mention XRP. He described it as a foundational building block of digital portfolios. Foundational. Not speculative, not experimental, but foundational. That is language institutions only use when they have already made the internal decision to accumulate and are preparing to normalize it publicly. Then came the next reveal. They announced that their ETF, trading under ticker XRPZ, offers regulatory custody, daily transparency, and liquidity without the operational complexity of holding XRP directly. That, in Wall Street language, is code for we want exposure, and we want it at scale, but the public is not ready to understand why yet. Institutions hate operational friction. They avoid wallets, cold storage, memos, and manual transfers. But ETFs, that is their native language. And once ETFs go live, the story always follows the same pattern. Institutions get quiet, liquidity dries up, supply begins shrinking, and retail sits around wondering why the price is suddenly running. For XRP, we are only at step 1 and step 2 right now, the quiet accumulation phase. And it's about to get even more obvious because behind the scenes, I've been building something specifically designed to track this institutional activity in real time. On xrpo.com, the #1 Ripple and XRP news platform, I've launched my personal XRP ETF tracker. This tool shows live 24-hour flows, 5-day cumulative flows, and the coordinated volume movements beneath the surface. What shocked me wasn't just how healthy the numbers looked. What shocked me was how synchronized they were. It felt like a group of major players all turning their keys at the exact same moment. And beneath this tracker, which I'm revealing soon, there is a surprise coming that ties directly into where this story is headed later in the video. Everything will be free: the news, the data, the ETF tracker, the volume totals across all spot ETFs, and even a section listing the non-spot ETFs. Think of this tracker as your cheat sheet, the institutional lens retail investors normally never get to see. This is how the game is played before the price moves. And shout out to Bitwise for pointing me to the correct data endpoints to build this tool. Now, if you don't yet have an iTrust Capital account, this is the perfect time. Whether you believe we're still in a bear market or you're holding for the next 4, 8, 15, or even 20 years, their premium custody solution is designed to eliminate the fear of hacks or clicking the wrong link. iTrust doesn't hold your crypto. Your assets are held by Coinbase, Institutional, Fidelity, or Fireblocks. And even if your account were breached, the attacker could only cash out and withdraw into your bank account. Your crypto cannot be moved out to another wallet. It's peace of mind. Check the link below for a $100 reward when you sign up. Now the story gets even more interesting. People online debated whether Franklin Templeton should have named their ETF EXRP to match their typical naming formula. But when they announced XRPZ, the move felt intentional, like they wanted this ticker to be recognizable and iconic, as if they were preparing for a much larger wave of attention. XRPZ doesn't sound like a test or an experiment. It sounds like a category. And when they said, learn more about XRPZ, now live, that was the moment the narrative shifted. Step 2 of the institutional playbook had officially begun: make the product real, make the ticker memorable, and make exposure easy. Then came the numbers, and they were wild. In the first hour of trading, Bitwise reported 4.5 million in volume, Canary came in at 4.2 million, Franklin Templeton pushed 4 million, and Grayscale added 1.1 million. That's roughly $14 million worth of XRP purchased in the first hour alone, and by the end of the day, projections showed over $90 million in volume. Retail did not do that. Retail does not have $90 million lying around. That is coordinated institutional positioning. Institutions don't buy for fun, they buy for allocation. Every signal points to that reality. And now we zoom out to the macro picture. When Anthony Pompliano went on CNBC, he dropped a statement that hits differently when you're watching ETF flows in real time. He explained that Bitcoin has experienced the equivalent of a global financial crisis every year and a half for an entire decade, meaning institutions are now used to crypto volatility. They're not scared anymore. They're comfortable. And once institutions become comfortable with Bitcoin, they begin rotating into assets with actual utility, assets that handle settlement, assets that move value, assets like XRP. Institutions look for real-world use cases, especially during uncertain macro cycles. That's the rotation we're seeing now. This connects directly to what J.D. Vance said, that digital assets, especially Bitcoin, are part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay. When a government begins speaking like that, a barrier disappears. The barrier of permission. Institutions need permission. Once Washington signals acceptance, legacy money stops tiptoeing and begins allocating boldly. The XRP ETF flows suddenly make perfect sense in this new political environment. Then Ripple's Reese Merrick revealed something mind-blowing. 92% of global banks do not have direct SWIFT access for USD payouts. That is the worldwide choke point, slow settlements, trapped liquidity, high fees, and massive friction. And what solves that? Assets capable of moving USD liquidity without needing SWIFT. That is where stablecoins and XRP as a settlement layer become the next evolution. The world is begging for a better system, and ETFs are simply the institutional gateway to be early in that transition. And now comes the twist. JP Morgan, a $4 trillion banking giant, disclosed that it sold $134 million worth of MicroStrategy stock. Banks do not rotate out of Bitcoin exposure unless they're preparing for something new. That move was strategic. When placed alongside everything else in this story, the ETF flows, global banking limitations, regulatory clarity, political messaging, it paints one picture. We are entering a new phase of digital asset adoption. And XRP is not on the sidelines. It's right in the center of it. In the coming months, or possibly within a year, access to XRP may not look like it does today. Liquidity will shift, access points will shrink, buyers will change, and we are watching the beginning of that transformation unfold in real time. Institutions are moving, politics are shifting, global settlement rails are breaking apart, ETFs are live, inflows are rising, and the rotation into utility assets is accelerating. This is not hype, this is a pattern we have seen before, and it always ends the same way. Retail realizes too late that the assets they ignored were the ones institutions were quietly accumulating. But you're early. You're watching the story as it unfolds. And if you stay locked in, you'll see every new chapter the moment it appears. We're just getting started. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the thumbs up on your way out, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.